Hi, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by your emotions, struggle with emotional outbursts, or find yourself spiraling, being carried away by your emotions out of control, you're not alone. My name is Carlos, and this is something I struggled a lot, and that actually led me to miss many good opportunities because I wasn't in a good place and I overreacted, messing up the whole situation. And I want to share with you in this video how I managed to break the cycle and be much more present and happy. And I'll share with you the different strategies to prevent reaching these stages and the techniques that help me to self-regulate, to manage my own emotions and feel much more in control. So you too can achieve it and break this cycle. So let's get to it. When it becomes really hard to manage or control our emotions in a balanced way, this is called emotional dysregulation. It's that feeling when you feel that emotions are taking over, like when you're so overwhelmed by sadness, anger, or anxiety that we cannot think straight, or when we get stuck overthinking, spiraling into negative thoughts and can't get out of it. Emotional dysregulation feels like it's just like a wrecking ball or a tornado just carrying us away, a tornado of feelings. And it goes from extreme emotional outbursts to periods of emotional flatness, because after all these emotions, we're just exhausted and our nervous system needs to recuperate. So when we're in this state, it can be hard to communicate and connect with others, make clear decisions, or even trust ourselves. Plus, it can reflect on our bodies, feeling fatigue, headache, or even in our weakened immune system, because our body is in this constant overdrive, and it can hurt relationships, our careers, and it can cause regret because we do things or say things that in the heat of the moment that then we regret. Then this cycle becomes vicious with emotional outbursts draining us, then draining our love, trust, and connection with others. And sometimes these outbursts can create additional traumas, make us feel bad, and then we get back into this spiral. And this was actually my case, that I would dysregulate, and from being in a very bad situation, a bad position, I would try to improve the situation, and then I would just mess it up further. And I would dysregulate myself further, and then when I would gather a bit more courage and think, okay, everything's right, I would just start again because I had this evidence everything was spiraling down. So, but this is the good part, that it can be improved. But and now, when if we are getting to a dysregulated state, the common advice of just feel your feelings, it's not always helpful. For some of us, especially if we've experienced complex trauma, trying to process all these emotions while we are overwhelmed or dysregulated, it's just gonna make things worse. And for me, I knew I was already in distress or feeling anxious, and I could accept it, accept the feelings, like it was this advice. And now what? Accepting the situation didn't help me getting out of it or moving forward. So I needed alternatives to get myself out of this state. So instead, self regulation comes first. And before trying to process our feelings and try to make things work, it's best trying to stabilize and creating a sense of safety and grounded for ourselves first. And what's happening here is that of course, the mind and the body are deeply connected, and our thoughts can either improve or worsen our emotional situation. So, for example, when we are emotionally dysregulated, negative thoughts like "I'm not good enough" or "it will never work out" reinforce the feeling of anxiety, sadness, validating the negative thoughts. So then we think, feel it again, validate, and it creates a cycle that it's really hard to escape when we've got this self-internal talk that it's validated by the feelings. So it's like fuel firing it. So typically when we are emotionally dysregulated, we see things as either good or bad. We say things like, this is terrible, I'm such a failure, and we miss the nuances in the situation. This type of thinking is called black and white thinking. And this is what's fueling emotions further and feeling emotional dysregulation further, because when we think in extremes, our emotions get amplified, which leaves little room for perceiving these details and nuances, making it hard to cope with the complexity of life and different situations. We can see it when we use mostly words like always, never, perfect, terrible, everything, nothing, worst, best. So it's like either black or white. And this is what's amplifying those feelings of distress. And then the body reaction validates the thinking pattern, which again pushes us into intensifying the feelings and creates this vicious cycle. And that's what we know then experience as spiraling down, overfeeling, or getting carried away by the emotions and losing this sense of being able to think by ourselves clearly, thinking straight. So, for example, if you think my boss is always unfair, it's easy to feel angry, to feel frustrated, but that doesn't help to find a solution, and it's giving the boss control over your emotions, making us feel helpless. It doesn't help you look at things from a different perspective because the boss is always doing that. So then we cannot reflect on what we can do. Instead, in those situations, we can try to shift our thinking and we can reframe it to something like, sometimes my boss doesn't fully understand my point of view and I can try to communicate better. And then we can try to look for the full picture. And why is that person acting like that? What is this person's context? What can I do about it? What do I want to achieve out of this situation? And this helps to break this cycle of negativity and emotional overwhelm. And it empowers act to act rather than react by trying to look into the nuances, the personal situation of everyone. So here we have two sides. How is our body feeling and how can our mind gain control of the situation and keep us in a healthier and more balanced state? And so here are the strategies that helped me avoid this emotional dysregulation and this black and white thinking. First is self-awareness, paying attention to how our body feels when we are starting to get dysregulated and noticing the changes that we are experiencing in our muscles, if they are tensing, maybe our shoulders, is our heart racing, sweat in our hands, lacking breath, or breathing more intensely. These physical signs can help us a lot to catch our emotional reactions early on. So then we can understand what's going on and slow down to gain more control and avoid going deep into that. Then the second thing that helped me a lot was my thinking awareness, noticing if I'm using this black and white thinking pattern and like saying always or never or going down this rabbit hole of distress, try to find the nuances in the situation and reframe thoughts. And that's shifting the perspective. So instead of saying this is terrible or this is always the same, try to think, what do I really want out of it? Is this a challenge or what's the opportunity for growth here? And look for the specific details and what are the feelings that we can control. Instead of saying, you make me angry, say, I'm feeling angry right now. So then we've got the control. We helps us positioning us in a situation to find a solution, not giving control to others. So these simple strategies help to stay much more connected ourselves and prevent being dysregulated by it. So looking how our thinking pattern and our body reactions. And I know that it's not always easy to prevent it. And when we catch ourselves dysregulated and we want to self-regulate, these are the techniques that can help to calm us down in moments of emotional overwhelm and gain again this control. The first one is my favorite. It's quick and effective. It's the 5 to 1 countdown. It's just as easy as acknowledging we are in distress, and then we count down from 5 to 1. like saying, and then saying, I trust myself, I can make the right decision. What if this works out? It shifts us from thinking from a panic mode to a possibility. So just counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I trust myself to make the right decision. What if this works? This is extremely effective to shift the thinking pattern. This technique has been popularized by Mel Robbins, among others, and I found myself in dysfunctional toxic relationships, and I needed to give myself the trust that I could make something work for me, for myself, and my life. Mel, for example, she is saying, what if this works out? But I added that I trust myself to make the right decision. What if it works? I added that to empower myself to feel much more confident. And it was very effective. It's very effective to counteract feelings of helplessness, anxiety, and gaining this control. Then the second technique that we can use when if we're in a interaction is slowing down. When we see how things are going in an interaction, we can slow down the interaction and don't react right away. In heated moments, pause, breathe, feel, and take a time before speaking. It's not about repressing our feelings, but staying grounded and processing our emotions later from a healthier place and avoiding overreacting and explosions. Another tip that was very helpful is journaling. When we cannot get rid of a thought or a spiral, journaling is very effective. I do it quite often. I write down my thoughts or feelings to gain perspective. And then gaining this perspective, we gain this understanding what's going on and provides much more relief. And afterwards, when we've settled and calmed down, we can address the situation from a much more healthier situation. The fourth tip is doing physical exercise or movement. It's a great way to release stress and calm our body. Things like yoga, weightlifting, or sports with other people as well that help us feel connected and change the chemistry on our bodies by releasing endorphins and dopamine. Dopamine is the reward hormone and other hormones, but at the same time, it helps to regulate cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. So physical activity reduces stress, improves our mood, enhances mental clarity, and overall helps manage anxiety much more effectively. And just going for a walk in nature or outdoors can be a big deal to help us stay regulated and then process the situation from a healthier perspective. And then sensory grounding, that for some people it works very effectively to connect back with their senses, to feel present and disrupt this regulation process. For this, just focus on your senses. So you can feel warm water while you are washing your hands or taking a shower, or noticing smells, what things you have around you, what can you see. Try to count 3 different things and looking at its details. So it brings back control and helps us stay grounded. Also, we can talk to someone else, someone we trust, like a friend or a therapist, someone who's not involved in the conflict, and talk with the intention of processing the emotions and gain better understanding of ourselves, what we are going through, and the situation. It might feel freeing expressing all our concerns and problems to someone else, but this can easily turn into emotional dumping that puts more distance in our relationship. Instead, we can look at it with the intention to find a solution, and an outside perspective can offer lots of clarity to process the situation and identify the opportunities and details that we might have missed because we were dysregulated. And now I would like to know in the comments below what are the techniques and strategies that you've already tried and which ones work best for you. I'm very interested to know as well for you what's best, because this is a very personal experience. And for me, it was a journey discovering my own thinking pattern, my own feeling pattern, how I was reacting in every situation. And I know how challenging it can be rewiring our patterns and break this cycle. And many times I thought I was making progress, but then there would be a trigger that would send me back to square one, spiraling down. So I struggled my whole life until my 30s, actually, and that's why I want to help others as well improve the quality of their lives and overcoming all these challenges I had. And that's why I'm doing this video. And for those that want additional details and more personalized program and guidance to achieve being present and breaking this cycle, I created the I Got Through community. It has dedicated modules for healing the source of this pattern, including sources from persistent anxiety and trauma, and then rewiring ourselves to step into the life that we deserve. You can find more information in the link down below in the description. And I hope this video was helpful. Self-regulation is a skill that can transform our emotional experience and our relationships. We all can learn it, and with these techniques, I hope you are empowered to take more control of your emotions, build this resilience, and find more balance in life. And the sooner we start, the sooner we get to experience the benefits. So thanks for watching. And if you find this helpful, please consider it liking, subscribing, and see you soon with more growth and healing videos.